also might be losing Eberechi Eze. So what's going on with him? Well, he's been linked with a move to Tottenham. His release clause is worth around £68 million and reportedly expires on Friday. Well, Thomas Frank was asked about Spurs' pursuit of Eze today.
I think there's a lot of good players out there. There's also a few from the PSG team, but I don't think we can buy them right now. So in general, players in or players out, I'm only speaking about, either something done or not done. So in general, I speak about my own players. I think I got a good team, good squad. Of course, there's transfer window. We are definitely, in the market, and we'll do everything we can to make the best possible and strongest squad ready for the 1st of September. So there's a few things in the air, as you say, along the way.
So, Kave, just Spurs after Eze?
I think Arsenal are interested in him, and he's been a long-term target for Arsenal too. I think when you've got a situation where the two big North London clubs are after the same player, they've both got to be even more careful than they are when it comes to trying to sign players, because they don't want to get into a situation where they get involved in a sort of bidding war, or their fans are encouraged to say, look, he signed for us, he turned you down. So they've got to be very, very sure that the player himself wants to move to them before they make any official bid. Now, if his release clause does expire on Friday, if I was a Crystal Palace fan, I would be hoping and praying that nothing happens until Friday, because if you get to a situation where that release clause has expired, then obviously that puts Palace and their chairman Steve Parish in a much stronger position, and he's got 2 years left on his contract, so they could afford to hold on to him for at least another season. Right, hold on. Earlier in the programme, we were lauding Everton for going for it, going for Jack Grealish, getting Jack Grealish. Shouldn't one of those London clubs pay £68 million for the release clause and get Eze? James?
I think if I was in charge of a sporting director at a club like Tottenham or Arsenal, I'd be going straight after him. For Arsenal, they are prioritising sales right now because it's been a really busy window in terms of incomings. For Tottenham, I think they should be acting on this. If I was a Tottenham fan, that's one player I'd want through the door right now. They've got so many wide players right now, but in terms of number 10s, they're really lacking. Dejan Kulusevski is out for a significant period of time. James Maddison will miss the majority of the season. This is a player who's excelled so much in a Crystal Palace shirt over the course of the last few years. It's been amazing watching his development, a player who was rejected from the Millwall Academy. He went to QPR, impressed there, got the move to Crystal Palace, and we've seen him flourish, in particular over the course of the last 18 months under Oliver Glasner. He's one of the most gifted players in the Premier League. Technically, he can score goals, create goals. Jean-Philippe Mateta is very pleased to have Eberechi Eze as a Crystal Palace player. I'm not sure how long he'll remain as a Crystal Palace player because he is just so good. They'd love to keep hold of him for another season, especially as it looks like Mark Gahey will depart. I think it looks like that will be the case because of his contract situation. But yeah, £68 million. It feels like really good value if the club gets it done this week.
So we know Spurs, one of the clubs interested in Eze. Spurs also pursuing Savinho from Manchester City. Where are we with this one?
Well, the interest in Eze, but in terms of Savinho, there's concrete movement here because Tottenham have approached City around signing him. Talks are underway between the two clubs. City do not want to sell him. They've only had one season with him so far, and there were some really bright sparks. I know he only scored one Premier League goal, but he created a number of chances for Manchester City, and I think they do have a number of wide options there right now. Savinho can play as a number 10. I think he's better off playing on the right-hand side or the left-hand side. He's a left-footed winger who plays on the right. We see that so often nowadays with the inverted wingers. So they are in the market for a 10 and a winger. And I think Thomas Frank, if he ended the transfer window with these two players, he would be absolutely delighted because it feels like Spurs need something right now. There was a lot of positive momentum you felt at the start of the summer. Thomas Frank coming in, Mohamed Kudus, a bit of a punt, but we know what he can do. But with the injuries, Dominic Solanke, we've still not seen him so far this season. You can understand why, if they can get these two through the door. I feel like
that release clause of £68 million, Benny, expires on Friday. Mm-hmm. And I get the feel. I mean, you don't have to be a brain surgeon to work out that if you miss that deadline, it's going to cost you more than £68 million. Yeah. So with that in mind, I expect either Spurs or Arsenal or both to put a bid in before Friday. Do you?
But do you know what? And this, again, no disrespect to Palace because we spoke about him before, but I'm shocked he's still there, if I'm honest, because when you look at what it felt like, Elise rocked up, did what he needed to do by Munich. And I look at all the talent that he's got, Eze, and he is such a talented footballer. Could go both ways, can score goals, is great to watch. If that is a release clause of that amount of money, surely you think there'd be more clubs in than just Arsenal and Spurs. And I'm talking about across Europe. because I think that's how good I think he is.
Yeah.
The fact that hasn't happened yet, I mean, I'm hoping this gives Arsenal the kick they need to go and get him. I know that the main priority was, of course, getting the striker. They've got that now. Then you've got Zubamendi, you've got Noni Madueke, got Kepa, Mosquera as well. You've got the players there, but I think this one here, because I know a lot of Arsenal fans are not happy with Martinelli's performance. I'm still in the Martinelli camp. I still really like him. But it just gives you options now.
Is that where you play him though? Because he's got a free role for Palace, right? So he's not necessarily stuck out. I know he can play on the left, but he's not stuck out on the left.
No, but you won't be stuck out on the left because he's not a winger. Like
No, but if you're going to replace Martinelli like for like, then he becomes a winger.
Yeah, but no, it's a little bit like when Arsenal play Trossard out there. Trossard's not an out-and-out winger, but Trossard drifts into areas.
I know, but Trossard doesn't start, right?
No, but they had periods where he has started. I was just to say to you last season, he starts way too much. But I think if Eze comes, he does start. And I still like Martinelli, but Eze's a better player. But I think if you're looking at Arsenal and you're looking at Tottenham, yes, Spurs are in the Champions League. Yes, they won a trophy last year, but they finished fourth bottom. In my opinion, Arsenal are in a better place. They finished second 3 times in a row. I know that's not a big congratulations because at some point you have to get over the line. Yeah. But I just think Arsenal to move forward are in a better place.
That's one of the questions we're going to be asking. Mm-hmm. If you were Eze, where would you rather go? Now, the obvious answer is Arsenal for everything you've just said. But it is a World Cup season, right? Everyone's playing now to get themselves in that England squad. Of course, if you're English, I just wonder if he'll have more game time at Spurs. Would he be more of a... At Spurs, he's going to start every week.
Yeah.
At Arsenal, does he start every week?
Well, that's the thing. You look, most big clubs, right? There's always a handful of people, or maybe a 3 or 4 that start every single week, right? But it's not... I don't think you have to look at it like, if he goes to Arsenal, he might not play as much as going to Spurs, because... You look at the great Manchester City side, for instance, and even Liverpool, actually, I put them in the same. You've got the likes of Virgil, Salah, Alisson if he's fit, Gravenberch certainly last season. Man City, it was the goalkeeper Ederson, Kyle Walker, Ruben Diaz, Rodri and Haaland. These guys start every week. Everywhere else around them rotates. So Eze might not play at the weekend, I don't know, against whoever, Manchester United, but the Champions League a couple of days later, he'll play against whoever it is. Do you know what I mean? So you're going to get enough minutes. So I don't think whether you walk in as a starter or being a big fish in a big pond is the most important thing.
But that is the thing for Eze, right? At the moment, he's a big fish.
Yeah.
And if he goes to Spurs, I think he'll remain a big fish. If he goes to Arsenal, I don't think he will.
Well, that's the thing. You have to challenge yourself. Like, I'll give you an instance. Sesko, right? Newcastle have been chasing him for how long?
Yeah.
Arsenal were in link with him, right? Now, the easier option might have been for Sesko to go to Newcastle because, listen, let's be frank, it's nowhere near the size of club of Manchester United. But what did he do? He wanted to go to United. More pressure, more eyes watching, more questions being asked.
It was a bigger club.
Yeah, but that's my point. He's gone to a bigger club because he's thinking, it's not about being...
You're going to say that Arsenal are a much bigger club than Spurs.
Yeah, exactly. So I just think for Eze, Arsenal would be the better fit for him.
Okay.
Where would you rather go?
I agree with you, right? I agree with you. I don't want to agree with you because you're Arsenal and I know it'll annoy you and upset you, but I agree with you. Spurs fans, that's one of the questions we're going to be asking. If you can find a decent enough argument as to why...
Eberechi Eze is a target for the Gunners, but they are battling North London rivals Tottenham for his signature. Tottenham are exploring a deal for Crystal Palace and England forward Eberechi Eze. Thomas Frank is looking to bolster his options in the final third after attacking midfielder James Maddison was ruled out for the majority of the season with an anterior cruciate ligament injury. South Korea forward Son Heung-min left the club after 10 years earlier this month, having scored 173 goals in 454 appearances, while midfielder Denan Kulusevski is still out after knee surgery. He scored 14 goals across all competitions for Palace last season, including in their 1-0 win against Manchester City in the FA Cup final. Asked directly about Eze in a news conference before Wednesday's UEFA Super Cup against Paris Saint-Germain, Frank said, "I think there are a lot of good players out there. There are also a few from the PSG team, but I don't think we can buy them right now. In general, players in or players out, I always speaking about something that is done or not done. In general, I will speak about my own players." Eze, 27, made his England debut in 2023 and has won 11 caps for the Three Lions, including 3 appearances at Euro 2024. Tottenham are also in talks with Manchester City over a move for Savigno, but multiple sources have indicated Eze is now emerging as a player of serious interest for Spurs. There is no confirmation whether Tottenham will look to progress with deals for both Brazil winger Savigno and Eze.